A judge in the Diddy Combs trial has officially dismissed a juror. Prosecutors had requested the juror be removed due to, quote, lack of candor.
Okay, they usually can pick jurors pretty quickly, in and out, and this is taking a very long time.
Juror number 6 walked out of the courtroom after being dismissed, but just before he left, he gave juror number 7 a look, one that made her stomach drop. What did he mouth to her silently? And why did the judge clear the benches so quickly that even the lawyers panicked? There's something about this dismissal that isn't adding up, and insiders are starting to piece together clues that point to something much bigger. Stay tuned if you want to find out what Juror 6's chilling words really mean, and why they might be bigger than the trial itself.
Jersey, and the judge said that raised broader questions about his candor and whether he made a deliberate attempt to try and get himself seated.
Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great! Thank you so much. Now, back to the video. What if the deliberation room wasn't just for sorting through facts, but became part of the story itself?
And the judge also said it would be inappropriate for him to consider race when making the decision.
That's the question Lena, one of the jurors, couldn't stop asking herself after the bizarre events she experienced. It started harmlessly enough. A coffee cup placed on the table, nothing odd about that. Except when she went to pick it up, she noticed handwriting on the side, a name scrawled in a shaky, familiar script, Mary Lou, her mother's nickname. Her mother had passed years ago, and no one in the room would have known that. Just a coincidence, right? But things only got weirder. The keycard system for entering the deliberation room began malfunctioning every time Lena tried to use it. It blinked furiously, switching between green and red like it couldn't make up its mind. At first she thought nothing about it until she noticed a pattern. The blinking seemed to align perfectly with the rhythm of a nursery rhyme her dad used to hum. And then there was the sketch. A courtroom artist had drawn a picture of Lena, but something was missing. Her mouth. Just empty skin where it should have been. Disturbing, sure, but it was the text messages that tipped everything over the edge. Late at night, Lena's phone buzzed. The message wasn't from anyone she recognized. It was a single line. Bluebird, her childhood nickname. More messages followed, each one bringing up personal details she had never shared.
A judge in the Diddy Combs trial has officially dismissed a juror. Prosecutors had requested the juror be removed due to, quote, lack of candor.
For a minute, she considered it might be juror number 6, who seemed off from the start, especially when it was revealed he'd lied about where he lived just to get on the jury. Legal experts say that kind of thing is rare, mostly because it jeopardizes the whole case. But this went way beyond courtroom drama. Then there was Judge Subramanian. After calling Lena into his chambers, he said nothing comforting. Instead, his parting words were chilling. Some things don't belong. When she checked her phone later, the texts had changed. The words seemed to rearrange themselves. It all felt intentional, like the deliberation room could see and hear her. And this was only one piece of the growing mystery, which now included the courtroom artist's cryptic sketches, and they were just as unsettling. What if drawings didn't just document reality but twisted it, or hinted at what could happen next?
Okay, they usually can pick jurors pretty quickly, in and out, and this is taking a very long time.
That's the unsettling thought Rosa, a courtroom artist with 35 years of experience, couldn't shake during the Diddy trial. Rosa had built a reputation for detail, sketching everything from key witnesses to bored spectators with uncanny accuracy. But this time, things went wrong. It started with juror number 4. No matter how often she glanced at him, his face seemed to change. Every line she attempted, his nose, jaw, even his hairline, never settled into a recognizable image. With years of experience, she chalked it up to fatigue, until her sketches began changing without her. Morning after morning, she opened her sketchbook to find pages out of order. One evening, she distinctly remembered completing a sketch of the prosecutor. The next day, the drawing showed someone else entirely. Herself.
Well, the one on the stand right now is just a summary witness. It's a paralegal from the U.S. Attorney's Office.
It was a picture of Rosa asleep in her own bed, complete down to the scar above her lip and the pattern on her frayed pillowcase. She didn't remember doing it, and the thought of someone knowing such intimate details made her stomach turn.
About how he treated people in his orbit as prosecutors seek to prove that he was running a criminal enterprise.
Then, during a quiet moment in court, one of her pencils snapped abruptly. As she adjusted her grip, she noticed a thin red streak on the page, oozing aggressively across the sketch like a line of blood. Her hands froze, unsure of whether to keep going or stop altogether.
For this particular trial, and he said that could not stand.
Aaron, the defense has made arguments that this is racially motivated.
The tipping point came when Rosa handed the judge's assistant an unfamiliar drawing. It showed juror number 6 being pulled through a mirror, his expression frozen in panic. Her signature was at the bottom in black ink, neat and precise, but she swore she didn't draw it. The assistant's face turned pale. The courtroom's tension thickened. Was it just stress playing tricks on her? Psychologists often highlight how pressure during high-profile trials can warp memory or perception, but this felt like more than that. Rosa began to wonder if her art was no longer hers to control, and if her brushstrokes were somehow a part of the chaos. The Diddy trial felt less like a court case and more like a scene from some surreal thriller.
You're not going to find anybody that's likely going to be Diddy's peer, because it's supposed to be a jury full of your peers.
His candor, according to the judge, Diane. The judge said he gave conflicting answers when asked a pretty basic question.
Jurors were dismissed under circumstances so bizarre you'd think someone was scripting the whole thing. Messages appeared where they shouldn't have, sketches seemed alive, and even the courtroom itself felt like it was watching.
Perceived bias due to wealth. One juror was excused after stating that Combs could buy his way out of jail.
Cycle 6, a phrase whispered through moments of confusion, hints at a bigger system, one possibly beyond anyone's control. So, are trials about justice, or are they part of something else entirely? Drop your theories below and think about it. Could this just be the first time we've noticed?